Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. We are so glad to see you this morning. And today we're going to be jumping right in to our program on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So it's good to see you this morning. Listen, folks, we're going to go ahead and jump right in and talk about turning debt into wealth. Have you ever thought about that? How to turn your debt into wealth? Oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing. So I've got some examples. So let's go ahead and so we can actually put our examples on the screen so that you will be able to see them. It's going to be good. All right, so let's go ahead and share our screen. And there we go. Get that up. Boom. There we are. And let me put some things up first, and then we'll put them on the screen. All right, so let me pull up. We want this example. We want this example. All right, there we go. Yes. There we are. Not that one. Okay. And this one. That one. All right. We'll put this one up too. All right. So we're going to open these up. All right. So here we are, folks. Let me tell you what we're talking about. This kind of thing that we're talking about today is when people borrow money. When people are borrowing money, what's going on with that? You've got to pay interest on that money. And what most people don't understand is they're paying 75% more interest than they need to pay. And that's a huge deal. 75 and sometimes up to 82% of the money that they need to pay back, they're going to pay that in interest. So if you can cut your interest cost and acquire the same asset, what could you do with the money that you didn't have to spend? You need to start inviting some people in here right now so that you can see what we're talking about. Here is some of my current clients that I've dealt with recently. And on this particular mortgage, it's $410,000. That's all the debt that they have. That's the mortgage. And they have they've got mortgage loans and credit cards totaling over $400,000. Okay. Now, here's what's happening. In the first 23 months on this mortgage, in just the first 23 months, they paid that mortgage down by $11,752.35. See, they were in this loan for almost 2 years before they contacted us. They found us, believe it or not, on YouTube. Okay. And in those 23 months, paid down their mortgage by $11,752.35. But look how much interest they paid in that time. $16,000. $16,335. That's how much they paid in that amount of time. Wow. Did you realize that? And they didn't realize they were paying that much interest until they saw our show on YouTube. There it is. Okay. We lose track of how much interest we're paying. Listen, and if you want, for everybody that's listening here, we should have the link pinned to the top of the room. Okay. So that you can join the conversation. Please take advantage of this. You can type your questions in the chat or come to the stage and you can talk. Let's have a conversation. Ask your questions live. You don't have to come on camera, okay? But you can open your audio so that you can get in on this free information. You see, folks, if you call us and set up a consultation, our average consultation is $250 an hour. You can ask the same questions here for free. Okay. You can't listen for free 99. You can ask the same questions you would have to ask, you could ask in a consultation. All right. And get good answers. All right. So let me do this from Huntsville. I'm just saying good morning to everybody. All right. There we go. Good morning from Huntsville, Alabama. That's where I'm from. So, everybody that's in here now watching the show, tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're from and say good morning. And please, please, please go ahead and join this room. So, listen, let me finish this example here so you can see what we're talking about. Once this person is in their loan for 5 years, and this is key. Once they're in this loan for 5 years, they will pay it down by $32,000. Okay. But they will have paid $41,000 in interest to do that. This is the way their loans are set up. This is what they signed up for. This is what they felt comfortable in doing until they saw the videos on YouTube. What if you could pay this loan down by the same $32,000 without changing your budget, without sacrificing lifestyle, and pay it down by $32,000, but for $9,000 to $10,000 in interest instead of $41,000 in interest? Wow, that's what we're talking about. You don't need more money to get out of debt, ladies and gentlemen. You need to learn how to pay less interest. And what we're going to talk about today is what can you do with the interest you're no longer giving to the bank. All right. So here's what we showed this person here. All right. In the first 23 months of their loan, they paid out a total of $28,087.60. Guess how much went to pay down their loan out of that much money? $11,752. Let me ask you, if you're going to pay out $28,000 of your hard-earned money, okay, $28,000 of your hard-earned money, do you want only $11,700 of that money paying down the loan? I listen, say yes or no. Put it in the chat or come on stage and talk with us today. The link is at the top. Go ahead and click on that link and come on in and talk to us today. But if you want to put your answers in the chat, please go ahead in the comment section and do that. All right. Listen, paying out $28,000, $28,000, and only getting $11,752 worth of benefit out of all of your money. All right. All right. Listen, Lanisha. Listen, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Lanisha says no, she doesn't want to pay that. Okay. Listen here, Lanisha. I got something for you. This mortgage that they have, and M. Bolin says no way, no way. All right. So we've got a 3% mortgage, By the time they're done, the bank wants them to pay back 51% of the money they borrowed in the form of interest. So, in other words, look at this. $410,000 in total debt, $211,000 in interest. How is it that on $400,000 at 3%, we're going to pay back $200,000 in $211,000 in interest? Folks, that's slightly over 50%. How does 3% become 51.777%? That's what's happening. And let me share this with you. If you spend that money, let's talk about opportunity cost. All right. Let me bring that up as well. Opportunity cost. You need to understand what that means. Opportunity cost. All right. Because if you opportunity cost means if you spend it one way, you can also spend it another. You spend that same money another way. All right. Opportunity. Let me put it on Let me put that on the screen. Opportunity cost. All right. We're going to slide this over. Check this out. Opportunity cost. The loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. If you spend that extra money you don't need to spend on interest, it is impossible to also invest that money long term and make compound interest. You see, your amortized interest is stealing your ability to make compound interest. And they're two different things. Do not let the people who are on YouTube tell you that mortgage interest is compound interest. Compound interest means you're paying interest on your interest. When you have a mortgage or a student loan or a credit card or a car loan, you're not paying interest on your interest. Therefore, it is not compound interest. What an amortization schedule does is every month it gives you a brand new mortgage. And now you pay interest on your brand new mortgage that month. So you're not paying interest on your interest. You're just paying interest on a brand new mortgage. So if you have a mortgage for $400,000, you think you have one mortgage, don't you? When you get it for 30 years, that's 360 payments. That means every single month you get a brand new mortgage. That's 360 mortgages because you pay on a new mortgage every single month. That is a powerful way of making money. But if you know how to read it, it is a powerful way of saving money as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. So from when they met us, when this person met the P.I.L.L method, we were able to calculate that they've already paid $16,335 in interest already by the time they met us. And from this point on, if they were to start with us today, if this was today, the banks want them to pay an additional $211,600. That is crazy money. All right, let me pull this down here. All right. Now, here's the breakdown. The way that their loans are structured, if they pay the minimum payment like the bank wants us, just pay us on time every month, it will take 33 and a half years to pay off the mortgage, the loans, and the credit cards, to pay off everything. When they make the last payment, it will be 33 and a half years from today. And they will pay back the $410,000 that they owe, plus $211,600 in interest. So we showed them how, instead of $211,000, they would only pay out $82,000, pay everything off in 7.3 years, and pay off exactly what they owe without changing their budget. What do you guys think about that? All right. Listen, if you can get this kind of guarantee, if this could be guaranteed to you, would you want these numbers instead of the other numbers? Which would you prefer? 211,000 or 82,000? And the 139,000 in interest savings. Look at here, 139,000 in interest savings right there. Okay. Because of the amount of interest they will not pay. You see, remember, the key to getting out of debt is not how do you come up with more money, but how do you use the money that you already have properly and efficiently. You see, we are taught to use our money inefficiently, where too much of our money goes to the wrong place while we're satisfied with the payments that we have. When you really take a look at these payments, 35 to 39% of your take-home pay is interest. That's why it takes so long. That's why it's so expensive, but we lose track of the interest we pay because we get so used to making the payments every month, and we get great satisfaction out of paying our bills on time. Okay? Now, if we take that money that we didn't have to pay, now we're going to take, let me put a calculator on the screen. Okay? And this is what we mean by this. This is just one way of looking at this. All right? So we have 33 and a half years that the bank wants us to spend paying off this debt. We're going to be done in 7.3 years. So we're going to subtract 7.3 years. That's 26 years. Here's what I want to tell you. What if you had that money that you're no longer giving to the bank and you could invest it for yourself for the next 26 years? I'm telling you, everybody who's listening to me, who is about to get a mortgage or just got a mortgage, you think that's a long way away. I'm telling you, it goes by in a flash. 26 years. If they had that money to invest for their family, they could potentially turn that money into look at this, potential wealth accumulation, turn it into $2,069,906 and have a paid off house and the equity in the house plus another $2 million added to what they're already investing in their retirement funds. So they're already investing in retirement. They're working. How would you like to take the money that you're no longer paying the bank and invest that money and turn it into $2 million? What do you guys think about that? Is it conceivable? Is it conceivable to you that if you could save that money because you signed up to pay it, if you could save that money, acquire the same assets for a lot less interest cost, you could then take that money and then put it into some sort of investment? And let me tell you something that's amazing about compound interest. Compound interest is powerful. And let's see, where's my calculator here? 26 years of compound interest with this kind of money. Guess what the interest rate is? The return on investment is. This is only 1%. At 1% return on your money, this kind of money invested for the next 26 years, compounded, would turn it into $2 million. Do you see why it is important that you can turn your debt into wealth by leverage? Listen, I believe in borrowing money. I love borrowing money. Do you know why I love borrowing money? Listen, you better tell somebody, you better get some people in here, better get your cousins, you better get your brother, you better get your sister, you better get everybody you know on this broadcast right now. And if you are watching the replay, send the link out to everybody you know, because right now, the way that this thing is set up nationally and around the world is that we feel so privileged to have a high credit score and being approved for loans. We totally lose track of the fact that 35 to 39% of our take-home pay is paid in interest alone. And if we're paying all of that interest, you can't also invest that interest. At the same time, we are trying to develop generational wealth for our families. But the interest cost is siphoning off our wealth at a phenomenal rate, and we don't even feel it. You know why we don't feel it? Because you don't miss what you can't measure. You don't miss what you can't measure. And we have been taught not to measure how much interest we're consuming each month. In my book, I talk about interest consumption in my book. And out of 33 million titles on Amazon, okay? Out of 33 million titles on Amazon, we're the only ones that talk about, in my book, is the only one that talks about interest consumption and how to cut interest consumption by 75%. Not your interest rate, how much interest you're actually paying. Interest rate is a liar. It's always been a liar. Interest rate is a liar. So if you can cut your interest cost, you can do some phenomenal things. Let me show you another example here. All right, here's another example. This was from late last month. Okay, late last month, end of the year. You know, for some reason, when some businesses go down, all right, in December and January because of the holidays, our business picks up. It's two of our biggest months when people come on board for a lifetime program with us. Okay, so why don't we show you here that with this particular person, a total cost of their loan, $631,000. $631,000. Now, here's what I like about our program. Depending on what's going on with you personally, your results will vary based on you. We set up a program that is specifically designed around your situation. We don't give you everybody the same instructions like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman. We don't do that. Okay? We don't do that. We give you a program that is designed just for you and your situation so that you can optimize your budget, your income, and get the biggest bang for your dollar. That's what we do here. So for this particular person, JP, all right, so what we have here is in 32 months, they were on their loan. And listen, the interest rate is 2.875. 2.875. And with an interest rate that low on two mortgages, the other one is 2.75. 2.875 and 2.75. You would think that why would they want to do anything else with such tiny interest rates? Because the interest rate has nothing to do with your interest cost. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. I got, listen, I see a comment here. I got a comment. So, Era, it says, is this similar to the RNN infinite banking concept? Oh, no, it is not. This is not infinite banking at all. Infinite banking uses whole life insurance. Where and listen, I like the concept. I love the concept of infinite banking. They use whole life insurance, and what you do is that when you get your insurance policy, then you overpay the insurance policy. You can quickly get cash value built up in that insurance policy, and then you can borrow money off the insurance policy. All right. And when you borrow the money off the insurance policy, you're not borrowing your money out. Your money continues to stay in and work. You borrow the insurance company's money, and then you can invest that money. And then you set up a system where you pay yourself back. Now, this is great. This is great. You pay yourself back the interest. You can set this up on your own. You say, what interest rate do I want to get on my money as I pay it back? What interest rate do I want to get? You set the amortization schedule yourself and say, I'm going to pay this money back at this interest. That interest you pay back to the insurance company. The insurance company has to pay you interest on that interest. Now that's compound interest. Oh, Lord have mercy. I love the infinite banking concept. There are plenty of videos out on it. In fact, we've done shows on infinite banking. You might want to look those up, but thank you for asking the question. So back, if you have any other questions, please, please, please don't keep them to yourself, because when you ask a question, other people get to learn. I need more questions, because the more questions I get, listen, you want to see me get excited? You want to see me go off off the chain? Put some questions in here, or come to the stage and ask them personally. It is going to be amazing. Ask your questions. Now, here's what's going on with these folks. Okay, JP, so in the first 32 months and the first 36 months on this loan, all right, even though they had very low interest rates, they paid this loan down by $28,000. Okay. But it cost them $35,000 in interest. Why? Why did it cost so much? Because 2.875% really means they're going to pay the bank back 49% of what they borrowed. Ooh, mercy. They didn't realize that. They didn't realize that 2.875 really means we're going to pay the bank back 49% of what we borrowed. Don, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Okay? When people say I don't believe you, then we have to show them the numbers. Can I tell you something about finances? No matter where you're getting your information, whether it's YouTube, whether it's your own accountant, whether it's your financial planner, make them show you the numbers so that you can see that what they're telling you is true. I need to stop right here so I can show you some numbers. We're going to put in any loan you want, okay, at 2.875% interest rate, 2.875, all right, interest rate for 30 years. I need somebody to give me a loan. How much of a mortgage do you want to see in here at 2.875? I'll let you guys give me the number. There's a slight delay. So give me an idea of how much money to put in here. I'll put it in. I will show you that 2.875 really means 49.361%. So you don't think I'm making it up. Please, somebody put a mortgage in here. How much do you want? How much of a mortgage should I put in here? All right. Somebody give me a number. Don't be afraid. Put it in. Go ahead and put it in the comment section. All right. Don't make me wait too long, or I'm going to put one in myself. Okay. All right. I'm going to put it in 5, 4, 3. Oh, there you go. 250,000. And I got 265,000. I could do both of them. Okay. 250,000. Okay. 250,000. All right. And let's bring that over here. Oh, I got 3 examples to do. Okay. I got 3 examples to do. All right. 250,000. We're going to duplicate the tab and duplicate the tab again. I got 3 examples. Okay. And I'm going to show you that no matter what you put in here at 2.875, it's going to come out the way that I said. All right. $250,000 at 2.875. Here is the payment on that. All right. And so now we have, let's see, 250,000, 2.875. All right. Now the next one we have is 265,000. Okay. 265,000 at 2.875. And we're going to calculate that. And I have one more, 400,000. Listen, Robin, thank you. Lanisha, thank you. G Page, thank you for your participation here. All right. Please come to the stage. Click on the link and come into the studio. Be part of the studio audience. Listen, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be a part of the studio audience. And the tickets are free. You know, Oprah's tickets are free, but it's hard to get them. You know, it was hard to get Oprah's tickets. Okay. All right. So you go on a talk show or whatever, it's hard to get the tickets. Not here. All right. You listen, you can get the tickets to come in here. All right. They're free. So 265,000, we did that. And the last one we want to do is $400,000. Okay, at 2.875, 2.875. All right, there we go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. All right, let's scroll down and take a look at the summary. Ooh, look at here, 49.361. The 2.875, 2.875, I think that's what I was supposed to put in. 2.875, all right? Yep, 49.361. That is at $400,000 because the payment is $1,659.57. Now, on 265,000, the payment is a little less because we owe less, $1,099.47. But here's how much interest they want: 130,000 on 265,000, which means it's 40. Uh-oh, did I do something wrong? I did something wrong. 2.875. Let me do this again. Take this out. 2.875 and calculate. Boom. Why is it coming up this? What have I done? What, you guys see what I'm doing wrong here? Okay, because I don't see it. 250,000, 265,000, and okay, 49.3. Oh, there, yeah, I'm coming up with the right number. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here it is. 49.361 on the 250,000. Here's my payment. On the 265,000, different payment, but the interest 49.362, and 400,000 49.361. Interest rate has always been a liar. Interest rate is a liar. So listen, folks, I don't care what the interest rate is. Give me a high interest rate because I'm going to control the interest cost. You are in control of interest cost. Take that money that you would have paid on this loan, because everybody in your neighborhood who has these interest rates, 9 out of 10 people you know will pay all of the interest that the bank is looking for and then some. But you won't. But you won't, because you're going to do something about it, because you're here. If you're here, that means you want to do something about it. So let's take this back and see what we can do about it. JP says, listen, in 60 months, when we complete 60 months on these loans, I will have paid these loans down. I would have paid these loans down by $75,000 in 5 years. And the bank wants $89,000, $89,000 in the first 5 years in interest. Okay? Just to pay off $40,000 worth of debt. Do you want to pay $89,000 in interest just to pay off $40,000 in debt, even though you have a rental property that's making money? I don't. Here we go. How much interest does the bank want? $274,000. Here's what we're going to do for them. Instead of $274,000, we're going to and paying off in 27.4 years to pay off $631,000. We're going to pay off $631,000 in just 13.6 years. 100 and pay out only $140,000 and save over $140,000 in interest. Oh, $140,000 in interest saved. How about that? And then take that money and turn it into $840,000 instead. Why should we give the money to the bank so that they can get rich? Why should we do that? I just need to know how many people are tired of giving their money to the bank this way. with losing all track of how much interest we're paying, knowing we don't have to pay that. How many are tired of paying their, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat if you're tired of giving that money to the bank. Number 9 in the chat. Let me see it. Oh, I'm sorry, in the comment section. Put it in the comment section. And please, why don't, listen, I wish somebody, I got a bunch of people in here right now. One brave soul. All right, listen, I'm gonna have to talk to the producers. Okay, I'm gonna ask the producers if it's okay to incentivize someone to come in to ask a question. We're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna incentivize you. The first two people that come into the show, we're going to mail out to you. Here it is, an autographed copy of my book. We're not even going to charge you the shipping. We're going to pay for the book. We're going to pay for the shipping. Come in and ask a question. Come into the studio and ask a question, and we're going to mail you out a book, my book. And look, I got the number 9s coming in. All right, Kenoy Adams, I see you. Sammy. Sammy says number 9, tired of paying all that money. All right. Lanisha says she's tired of paying it. All right. If I can get a person to come into the studio and ask a question live, Eris is tired of it. Come into the studio and get a book, my book, The P.I.L.L Method. Listen, I think you need to see the book. When you see this book, it's going to be fantastic. The P.I.L.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt. P.I.L.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt, right there. Okay, that's the book. It's not a different book. It's not an ebook. I'm going to send you the actual paperback book signed by me for anyone who comes into the studio to ask a question. All right, the first 2. Come on. All right, here we go. Let's get back to this particular and the producers will let me know when people are coming in. Okay, so here we go. Watch this. $840,000. Remember what I told you about opportunity cost? If you're spending that money on interest, you can also invest it. They're going to be able to pay off 2 houses in 13 years instead of 27 years. 2 houses in 13 years and not pay the bank $274,000 in interest. They're going to save $143,000 in interest on the deal. Take that money that they would have paid and invest it and make another $840,000. Folks, if you're tired of giving that money to the bank, why don't you invest it for yourself? Here's another example. Okay. Here's another example. Yeah, you can come in. You don't need a camera, just the audio, So here we go. Watch this. Total, 35 years to pay off the debt. 35 years to pay off $510,000 and give the bank an extra $435,000 in interest. Folks, that's over $900,000. How can we build generational wealth when we're giving away $435,000 in interest when we could save $347,000 in interest, and this particular family can pay off everything in 6.5 years without changing their budget, without sacrificing lifestyle. Listen, there's a guy in Tennessee. He's an hour and a half north of me. Name's Dave Ramsey. He says, okay, you got to eat beans and rice 7 days a week. You can't go anywhere, can't do anything. You got to take all that extra money and throw it at the debt, drive a 30-year-old car, cut up your credit cards. Yeah, the P.I.L.L method, you don't cut up your credit cards. We show you how to use them correctly. Sell pizzas at night. Do whatever you got to do and throw all of that money at the debt indiscriminately using the snowball method. If you do that, you're going to pay about $75,000 more. Even though the snowball method works, you're going to pay about $75,000 more in interest than you need to use it. Dave, stop telling the people to use the snowball method and help them, please. For your producers that are watching my show and reporting back to you, please start teaching the people to pay attention to their interest cost. Can you do that? Start telling them to pay attention to interest costs and attack the loans that are costing them the most interest. Because see, when you pay on a small loan, if you pay on a small loan, let me give you an example of what we're talking about. Okay, let me give you an example of what we're talking about. Okay, let's say I've got this mortgage, this $400,000 mortgage, even though it is 2.8%. 2.875. Okay. Let me show you what's going on here with another loan. Okay. We're going to put up a credit card. Watch this. Okay. Brett Whistle. There we go. I got a credit card. All right. And the credit card is what? $10,000. It's less than the mortgage, right? Less than the mortgage. $10,000. And I got a whopping 27% interest rate on that. When you put this into your amortization calculator, and I recommend that you use Brett Whistle, BRETWHISSEL. I'm gonna give this to the producers so that we can add it to the show for you guys. We're gonna copy that and give it to just give it to our producers here. All right, and there we go, and put that in here. There we go, and they're going to send it out to you. Okay, they're going to send it out to you. All right, here we go. So here's the situation. $10,000, ladies and gentlemen, $10,000, and 27%. But if you put a credit card in, you need to change this to 240 months. Change it to 240 months. Click on that, and show amortization schedule, and see how much interest the bank wants to charge you this month on $10,000. So if you do this and pay off this credit card, Dave Ramsey is going to tell you to pay off the credit card, and then Dave Ramsey is going to tell you to cut it up. Okay, the interest cost on this loan is $225 this month. That's it, $225 interest on this loan. But Dave is going to tell you the credit cards are killing you. You got $10,000 balance on a credit card. You know, they're going to tell you that, but he won't tell you how much interest you're actually paying. He's going to make it sound bad, but he won't tell you the numbers. Susie won't tell you either. They won't tell you it's only $225 that month. While you have a mortgage that's 2.875. Okay, but let me show you how much interest you're going to pay this much on this mortgage. $958.33. $958.33. While you're trying to pay off a credit card because of the snowball method, because of what you're being taught, that only costs $225, he's asking you to ignore the mortgage that's costing you $958 that month. Ladies and gentlemen, just based on that information, does the debt snowball make sense to pay off the smaller ones that have tiny interest cost? Now, this was at 27%. I chose a huge interest rate. But what if the interest rate was more normalized, like 10%? There we go. Look at this, 10% on $10,000, $83.33. $83.33 if the interest rate was 10%. Dave is telling you to pay that credit card off because it's killing you, but it's only costing $83.33, while on your mortgage, Lord have mercy, $958, while you're taking the next 2 or 3 years. Okay. All right. While you're taking, all right, we have a guest on we have a guest online. We got let me finish this point up. While you're taking the next 2 or 3 years, all right, to pay this off, guess what? You're paying all of that interest on the mortgage for 3 years. For 3 years, you take $10,000 and put it on this on that credit card that's only costing you $83. And and look at this. Look at this. If you take that $10,000 and put it on this mortgage, look at this. Instead of saving you $83, it's going to save you over $13,000. Look at that. That's what Dave is telling you. All right, Sammy, thank you for coming to the stage this morning. What's your question or your comment, sir? Go ahead and hit that microphone and unmute yourself, and you'll be able to ask your question so we can hear you. Come on in, Sammy. Are you there? Okay. And we got M. Bolin in here. All right. M. Bolin, how are you doing? Go ahead and hit that microphone so we can hear you.
Bolin, how are you doing?
There
I'm
you
doing
go.
fine, thank you.
All right. Go ahead and turn your, you have to turn your volume down.
Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you.
How are you doing? There you go. Fine, thank you.
But you have to turn your volume down on your, you do have two devices on?
Can you hear me? I can. I can hear you.
All right.
Okay.
There you go. So can you hear me now? Go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
If I'm into the 14th month on my mortgage payment,
Yes.
and I wanted to make a lump sum payment on that, say pay the interest for the next, say, 6 months, how would I calculate that?
Okay. So do you want to save some interest, or do you want to save the maximum amount of interest that you possibly can?
Say that again?
Do you want to save some interest, or do you want to save the maximum amount of interest that you possibly can?
Oh, that would be the maximum.
Okay. To save the maximum amount of interest that you possibly can, then it is impossible to calculate that on your own. I can show you how you can save some interest, but here's the thing. You need to be able to calculate how much interest you could save with just a small payment so that you can learn how to optimize that. Can I give you an example of that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so let's use this example here on the screen. Okay, I have the $400,000 mortgage at 2.875. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If I just prepay just one payment, $702.92, okay, I would save $956.65. That would tell me how much I'm saving in total.
Mm-hmm.
But what it doesn't tell me is how much I'm saving per dollar. Does it?
No.
No. So to do the math, I would need to go ahead and do $956.97 in interest savings and divide it by the 702. 0.92. Okay. Now that's $1.36. For every dollar at this point, for every dollar I put on the debt, I save $1.36. But did you realize the more money you put on at the wrong time, You can put more money on at the wrong time and save less than $1.36. Do you see what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
So most people want, see, we got into a bad habit with Dave and Susie and others. They give us like one thing to do, pay more. But what they don't give us is how much to pay, what month to pay it in, what day of the month to pay it on, and which loan to attack. Okay. Let me give you another example. All right. Let's just say, because you're talking about paying off several months at a time, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. So
Hmm.
let me give you two examples here. And I'm so glad you asked this question because you're helping a lot of people with this question. Okay. And do you have my book already?
No, I do not.
And you know what's going to happen now, right?
No.
Because you came on stage to ask a question, you're going to get a copy of my book for free, signed by
Oh,
me.
wow. Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. And so I made that offer to two people who would come on and ask a question. So you got the first one. We just need one more to come in and get the second one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And
Uh,
we want you to go ahead and write this down, info at thepillmethod.com.
all right.
Info at the pill method. Our producer is going to put it in there for us. Info at thepillmethod.com. And you're going to send us your address you want us to send the book to.
All right.
Now I
Thank
did that
you.
for everybody else because I think we already have your address, but that's okay. But I did that anyway. So go ahead and send it to us. And info at thepillmethod.com. Send us your address and we'll get that book out to you right away.
Thank you.
All right. So now I need to show you this so that people can understand what we're talking about because there's a point at which more is too much. When is more too much? Because you could pay a penny extra, you could pay 10 cents extra, you can pay $1,000 extra, you can pay $10,000 extra, you can pay $20,000 extra if you have it. So how much, when for you is more going to be too much? When that one penny is going to reverse how much interest I can save per dollar. So I'm going to give you two examples here. We're going to put that on the screen, two examples. Okay. Line 12 on our amortization schedule and line 24. Line 12 and line 24. If we prepay $8,526.62 all at once instead of over 12 months, we knock off 1 year off this loan and save about $11,000 in interest. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
If I go down to line 24, I could do 17,000 if I had it. You're talking about doing several months at a time. I could do $17,300 if I had it and say knock off 24 months and $22,000 in interest. So if I had the money, which one do you think most people would choose? The $8,500 prepaid or the $17,000 prepaid?
If I had it, I'd go with the 17,000
And why is that?
because if it's not, it's eliminated a lot more interest.
Exactly. And that's what the bank wants you to think. Okay. So let me show you something here. Okay. Very, very important to optimize the use of your money, meaning you want to get the most that you can out of the least amount of money you could pay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What is the least I can pay to get the most? Let me give you an example here. So we're going to put that back on the screen. We're going to put in the $11,000 we could save, 11,388 and 22 cents, but we're going to prepay the 85. Okay. We're going to
Hmm.
divide it by the 85, 26.62, and we're going to get $1.34 in interest savings. $1.34 in interest savings. So I'm going to write that down. $1.34. So the reason why that's important, Mrs. Boland, is this. If you gave me $1 and I gave you back $1.34,
Mm-hmm.
how many times would you give me that dollar?
As many times as I can.
You better know it. You better know that. Okay. But if you give that dollar to the bank, it makes it impossible for them to charge you $1.34. They have to give it back to you too. They told you how much interest they want from you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give them that dollar, that means, yeah, I can't charge you that $1.34 that I had planned to charge you. I can't charge you that now for every dollar you give them. All right. So now let's take a look at line 24. 22,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 22,000 is our interest savings. 22,528 .05, and we're going to divide it by what we could prepay, the 17,000. Okay, divided by 17,301.63 equals $1.30. Oops.
Oh, that's less.
The first one was $1.34.
4 cents on every dollar.
Listen, do you want to listen? Do you want to even lose 4 cents?
No.
You know how I know that for sure?
Mm.
Because if there are two gas stations on a corner, that you like and you need gas, okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
on E. Which one do you choose if you like both gas stations?
The cheapest one.
The cheapest one. By how much?
4 cents, I guess.
Even if it's a penny?
Yeah.
Yep, you better know that. We pay more attention to that one penny that we're listen. If you had a 17-gallon tank, and you made a choice like that for one penny, you made a choice for 17 cents. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
17. We pay more attention to that than we do to our mortgages because we've never been taught this.
Sure.
That when I put money on here, I want to save the most per dollar. And when we do that, we can build wealth. Now, it sounds like a little bit here, but most people make huge mistakes when they choose the wrong loan at the wrong time with the wrong amount of money, and it adds up over time. Okay? So, when we're taking a look at how much do we prepay, how do we get to the point where we try to figure out when does it start to go wrong? There's a point at which I can start paying money out of the money that I have, and I can save more per dollar. I put this on, I could save more. I put this on, I could save more. I put this on, I could save more. I put one more on, and it starts to go back the other way. I save less, I save less, I save less. So how do I figure that out? Can I show you what that's called? That's called, if we look at how many choices we could make,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do what's called factorial math to figure that out. All right. Now, it may sound like it's getting deep in here, but actually it's not that bad. All right. So let me pull this up for you. And I'm going to show you if you only had 5 choices to make. If you put it into your search engine, you put a 5 and an exclamation point and hit return. Okay. That's 5 factorial. That's how your computer reads it. 5 factorial. When you have 5 different things you could do, let's say you had 5 different amounts you could do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There's 120 different ways you can arrange the 5 different things you could do to save money. Which one should I pay? What month did I pay it on? What day of the month? Which loan? All right. So you've got all kinds of variables here. And each variable is going to save you either more or less money. Out of 120 ways, one of them saves you the most money. Do you want to sit down and try to figure that out?
No. It's going to take too long.
All right. Now, That's for 5 different variables. Did you know each loan we've identified here at the P.I.L.L method at least 10 different variables? At least 10 different variables. Okay.
Mhm.
So if I change this to 10 variables, I put in 10 exclamation point. That's 10 factorial. All right. What does that mean? We're going to hit that. 10 factorial means, 3,628,800 different things you could do to come up with the one right thing to do.
Mm.
Okay. This is why we lose so much money, because no one told us that there is an optimum way to spend our money, and there is an optimum amount of money we could save. We've been led to believe that anything that I do to get out of debt is as good as any other thing that I could do. I could pay $10, I could pay $20, and the effect is essentially going to be the same. All right. I'm going to save the amount proportionally, no matter how much money I pay. And that's not true. Proportionally, I can get to the point where I can save more or save less. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Mhm.
now, would you like to know how you can optimize your interest savings?
Yes.
Okay. That takes a program, a computer program, an AI driven program. And I'm going to go over that in just a few seconds here. All right. An AI driven program that does all of this math for you. All right. We're going to take that off the screen. I'm going to pull that up so that you can see the P.I.L.L method opportunity cost calculator that does thousands of calculations per second to give you exactly how much to pay and when to pay. All right. So let me pull that up for you. We're going to pull that up. Boom, boom, boom. And there we go. And so while that's coming up, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Let's pull this over here. There it is. So it's loading now. All right. So when we load the program in, you're able to put all of your information in right here. Put all of your information in, and we have different. Um, we have different. Let me see. Reset the account. I can put in multiple properties. This has like 12 different mortgages in here, but we're just going to do something simple like this and reset it. Okay. This program says that for John and Rebecca Jones here, here's how much they owe: $25,000 car loan, $2,000 Visa, and a $200,000 mortgage. The bank, that's $227,000 total. The bank, that John and Rebecca Jones are going to save $179,722 in interest they don't have to pay. And they'll be able to pay off in 7.8 years because of this, because the program is going to tell them exactly what to do and when. Let's see the first example of how it gets there. We're starting the whole program in November, and we're scrolling down through here, and we're watching these little arrows. When you see a blue and a green arrow, that's the program telling you, take some money out of your savings that you were able to save up and put it on the debt. Pay off this credit card in 1 month instead of over several months, and put this much money on the mortgage, $550.03 out of your savings account. Now, you tell me, would it be better to try to come up with an amount on your own and struggle to get the money? Or would you like to have a program that says, oh, out of the money that you have, over $5,000, you need to put out of that money only $550.03 on this mortgage, because that optimizes your money. Okay.
I'd
Let me,
rather go with the assistance of AI.
okay. So here's what AI is doing for you. All right.
Mhm.
If we put $550.03 on here, we're going to save 2,000. Let me make this a little bigger. We're going to save 2,000 $715 in interest just for that one transaction. Just for that one transaction. Now, what if they said, I'm going to pay $1,550.03 because John and Rebecca have more money in the bank. But the program says this is the optimum amount. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. D. Donson, I'm gonna come back to you in a minute. Okay. So we got $550.03. All right. So we got we're gonna save $2,715. But they want to do an extra $1,000. Do you see where it says up here in the upper right hand corner how much interest you could save?
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if we save the $550, we're going to put 550.03 and save 2715. So we put in 2715. That's how much interest we save, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And we're going to divide it by $550.03. This is what the program recommends. We're going to save $4.94 in interest. 4.936. So we have to round this 3 up to a 4. That's $4.94. Okay, make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This is optimum. Okay, this is the optimum amount. But if John and Rebecca Jones says, nah, I want to pay $1,500, I'm not going to wait till the December 17. I'm going to pay it on December 1st when I pay my mortgage. So I'm going to send in an extra $1,550.03 because I have it. All right.
Okay.
And then we'll see up here how much interest they save. Look at this. A whopping $7,535.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if we take put our calculator back up, even though it says 7,535, we might be impressed by that. We're going to take the 7,535
Mm-hmm.
and divide it by 1,550.03. We added $1,000 to it. Uh-oh, I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Let me back up. Okay, $1,550.03. There we go. Oops. And 3 cents equals 4.86. You see how we're saving less money per dollar?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the key to getting out of debt, using the right amount. So once you start paying more towards your debt than you need to pay and saving the most amount of money in interest, you give up the ability to take that extra money that you didn't need to pay at that time to invest it in something else.
Okay. Wow.
Don't be so focused on saving money, you lose the opportunity to make money with the additional money. And there's a story that goes along with that. I have a client right here in Huntsville. Okay. I've told the story before, but this is perfect time to tell it again. A client in Huntsville who's making more money now than when they started on the program. And they lost sight of the fact of what's called the law of diminished return, putting more money on at the wrong time. So as they made more money, they told their program that they're making more money. And so now they're going to pay off the last $263,000 that they owe on their mortgage in just 3.5 years. How about that?
Wow.
And they're going to pay $16,000 in interest because the program will calculate what it costs. Let me show you here. Their interest remaining, and they clicked on the interest remaining. It came up as $16,000 in interest remaining. Okay.
Mhm.
because you know how much interest you have left to pay. We do all that calculation for you. So he says, so when I told him, listen, you're paying off the loan too fast and you're not paying enough interest. He says, what do you mean? I thought that was the whole idea, was to pay it off fast and pay a little bit of interest. I said, yes, but it sounds like you want to be out of debt in 3.5 years. He says, yes, I do. I says, what would you have to do? He says, I have to put $2,000. I told him to take $2,000 out of his budget. Okay.
Mhm.
Take $2,000 out of your budget and then let the program tell you what would happen. When he took the $2,000 out, the program told him, now you're going to be out of debt in 6.5 years. And then instead of 3.5, and now you're going to pay $20,000 in interest instead of 16,000. He says, Don, how is that better? It's taking me longer and I got to pay more. Sound like that to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said, what would you have to do? What would you have to do to pay to get out of debt in 3.5 years and pay only $16,000 interest? He said, I would have to tell the program, I'm making that $2,000. I need to put it back into the program, $2,000 a month.
Mhm.
I said, okay, that's 3.5 years. Okay, that's 3 years is 36 months. Another half year, that's 6 months. That's 42 months altogether. 42 months times $2,000 a month. That's
Oh,
$84,000, right?
yeah.
What is the difference in interest that you could save? 16 to 20?
Wow.
4,000. He's got to put $84,000 into debt reduction just to save an additional $4,000. Is it worth it?
No.
No. So there's a point at which you need to stop putting money towards debt reduction, take that extra money and invest it somewhere else. You know what he decided to do? Build a new house instead and put a renter in the old house.
Wow. That makes sense.
A $700,000 house he decided to build because now his money is going to save him much more interest. And with this program, he's going to be able to pay off both houses in about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So don't lose sight. Don't fall into the trap of putting more on when it's not going to benefit you more. The reason why we pay off debt, Mrs. Boland, is this: is to save interest. Stop looking at how fast you can get out of debt and start looking at how cheaply you can get out of debt. Does that make sense to you?
It sure does.
I want to thank you for your question. Make sure we get your information. We want to send you out a book. Do you have an additional question before I get over to Sammy?
No, no. Go ahead and go help Sammy.
All right, come
Thank
on.
you.
Sammy, do you want a book today?
Yes, for sure. Hi, John.
Okay. Hey, you doing, Sammy? How's everything?
Very good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir. Do you have a question for me today?
Yes, pretty much related to the previous question by our friend.
Okay.
It's just thank you so much. It's so very informative, and I've been listening about these things. But I noticed in my bank, I'm just allowed in terms of frequency of payment.
Yes.
I noticed that I'm only allowed twice a year. So how would this program can
Okay, Sammy. It
change
sounds
it?
like you're in Canada.
Yes, correct.
Okay. We have Canadian clients.
Mhm.
It says you're only allowed that twice a year.
That's what I noticed. And
Without,
my
okay, listen now. You need to read the whole thing. You're allowed twice a year without penalty. You could do it more if you wanted. If you wanted to pay the penalty.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I got plenty of Canadian clients. So if that's the case, most people hear the word penalty and then they do what?
We avoid it. I mean,
They want to avoid the penalty. Okay. I would listen. Listen, a lot of people would want to avoid the penalty if they hear the word penalty. Listen, let me prepay the 2 times per year that I'm allowed. And in fact, you're only allowed so much money you could prepay, even those 2 times a year, correct?
correct.
Okay. So number one, you don't want to go over the amount that the bank has dictated because they're going to charge you a penalty And you don't want to do it more than twice a year, or they'll charge you a penalty. So they got you. It seems like they got you going and coming. But here's the thing. Do you know if you prepay something that you wanted to pay instead of what they told you to pay, do you know what the penalty is? Have you figured out how much the penalty would be?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. That's number one. And have you figured out how much interest you could save if you went against the bank?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I don't know what.
Okay. Can I give you an example of one of my Canadian clients? We
Sure.
showed them how to save. Now they were in, so we told them that you can actually know how much interest you could save if you do this. They could save $100,000 in interest. So knowing how much interest they could save made it relevant, made it important, because now they know how much interest they're saving. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And on their bank's website, on their mortgage company's website in Canada, they have a calculator that tells you, if you do this, how much it's going to cost you in penalties to put this much money on your debt. Now, the bank doesn't talk about how much interest you're going to save at all. They got that information from the P.I.L.L method. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The bank just tells you how to calculate what your penalty would be. You know what the penalty was?
I don't know that.
$1,200.
Oh, that's it.
$1,200 to save $100,000 in interest, because we are taught to focus on the penalty and not the benefit.
Makes sense.
So when you're doing this math, you need to have somebody kind of point that out to you, because when you're with the P.I.L.L method, you don't get just the opportunity cost calculator. You don't get just the AI system. You get a coach that's going to help you to put the right numbers in the right way and ask this program the right questions. Because a computer program is just a computer program. Computer programs aren't smart. No, they're just fast. Give it the right data and you get good answers. Garbage in, garbage out when it comes even to an AI system. But give it good info, you're going to get good info out. It's important for us to know what our benefits are and what our costs are so that we can make a wise decision. Let me tell you why banks focus on what the penalty is going to be. Because psychologically, listen to this, everybody. And I'm looking straight into the camera at you, because practically everybody on the planet is this way. That the fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. I will repeat that. The fear of losing $1,200 is greater than the benefit of saving $100,000, because I'm not even going to look at what my benefit is, because the penalty is looming so large in my mind. The fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. And that's how the banks keep us in check, by telling us that in Canada, we have prepayment penalties on mortgages. We don't have that in the US, and that's why we have so many clients in Canada. Any other questions?
Well, thank you so much, Dan.
Nice to
discover that.
Make sure you send us your address, okay? And your and make sure the postal code is correct so that we can send you out your book.
How can I send that again, Don?
To info@thepillmethod.com. Info@thepillmethod.com. It's in the comment section. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Sammy, for coming in.
Blessings.
All right. Listen, folks, these are some good questions. And some of you are wondering, what can we do about it? I want to show you what you can do about it right now. Because of Sammy, because of Mrs. Boland, here's what you can do for this right now. I'm getting ready to put it on the screen, and we got it we've got it crawling across the bottom of the screen now. You want to get a savings and earnings report so that you can know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and start the process of saving that interest so that you can invest it and make more money for your family. Let's go here to ICE10K.com, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com, ICE10K.com, and scroll down. Okay, let me get some of this stuff out of the way here. All right, boom. Come on. What is going on here? Trying to get this off my screen. There it is. Okay, so here you go. And scroll down underneath the picture for Eric Thomas here. Eric Thomas is the number one motivational speaker in the entire world. Google his name, Dr. Eric Thomas. Okay, he used the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage early. The number one motivational speaker in the entire world. Google his name, Dr. Eric Thomas. Get a savings and earnings report. Click on that button right there. Okay. When you click on that button, it takes you to this window. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings and earnings report. Okay. Once you do that, it's a two-step process. Fill out this information and then it'll ask you to verify your email address. Once that email address is verified, it will let you into part 2 where you put in your financial data. And with that data, our assistants will get that information from you and calculate how much interest you could save and the month, day, and year you could be debt free with the information you gave us. It starts there. And then we'll also calculate your potential interest earnings with the money you will save. That is going to be key to this whole thing working out. And let's try to switch our brains around. Let's try to switch our brains around where we're not so afraid of our benefits, that we focus on what it will cost us. And the cost is change. Don, will I have to change the way that I'm doing something, that I'm doing things currently, so that I could save the maximum amount of interest and take that money and invest it so that I can make more money? Yeah, you're going to have to do some changing. That's going to be the cost. It's going to be change. Do you want to keep getting the same old results? Are you ready for something better and something different? Come to the P.I.L.L method. Click on ICE10K.com, ICE10K.com, and get a savings and earnings report. Folks, I've got to take a quick break and get a drink of water. We're going to play that video for you, a short commercial on Dr. Eric Thomas and what he has to say about the P.I.L.L method.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, folks, I am refreshed. I am back at it. So I got D Dots in here. It says, this sounds like a complicated version of the avalanche method. Okay, now with the avalanche method, folks, if you look it up, the avalanche method is, instead of choosing the smallest debt, what you do to start out, you choose the one with the highest interest rate. Okay. And then you start working that down. You start with the highest interest rate, and then you work your way down to the smallest interest rate. Okay. So let's take a look at that question. And thank you for very much, Dee, for bringing that question to light. So we talked about the debt snowball. Let's now talk about the avalanche method and how the program takes a look at that. Okay. So now we're going to bring back our program. We're going to take our program back and look at what John and Rebecca Jones are doing. All right. So now let's take a look at these loans. Okay. I'm going to open up the accounts here and we're going to take a look at the loans that we have. We have a mortgage at 6%. Okay. We have an auto loan at 4%. We have a Visa at 21%. Okay. Now, if we take a look at what's going on here, the Visa at 21%, this is the highest interest rate. The car loan is the lowest interest rate, and the mortgage is somewhere in the middle. Okay. So if we take a look at this thing, that means that if we were to do this, we would focus on the car first if we were doing the avalanche method and pay the car off because it has a 4% interest rate, which is less than the 6, which is less than the 21%. Now, it doesn't take much math to figure this out. Okay, that the most expensive loan here is the mortgage payment because it's 6%. Let me click on the history here and I'll show you what I mean. Let's look over here to the left. The principal payment is $206.85, but the interest payment on this thing is $992.25. $992.25 is the interest cost, not the interest rate. Okay? So we need to focus on interest cost and not interest rate. Let's take a look at the auto loan, which is 4%. Okay, so if we focus here on the auto loan, let's see, history here. Look at this. $83 is the interest payment. Guess how much I have to prepay to get rid of $83? I got to prepay $377.08 just to eliminate one $83 interest payment. I got to come up because of how the car loan is situated, because of how much I owe and the interest rate. So folks, stop looking at interest rate, stop looking at how much you owe, and start. This program focuses on how to eliminate interest cost. And no one, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, the avalanche method, the snowball method, whatever method is out there, they don't pay attention to interest cost in making these decisions. And the more loans you have, the more difficult it becomes. All right, so D-Dawson, let me give you an example about how difficult it can become. We're going to reset this account. I'm going to put in a program with multiple properties. So we're going to reset this, take a look at what we have. All right, and years to pay off. Okay, so now we have going to the accounts. We have, this is the 10th mortgage here. We put this one at the top. So we got 10. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mortgages with, and then there's one at the top that makes the 10th mortgage, and a HELOC. And a HELOC is a second mortgage. So we have 11 mortgages in total. Okay. Now we got an 8.6% interest rate. We got $3,500 here. We got 6.5 interest rate. We have $487,000. 4% interest rate, different pay, how much we owe. 5%, 3%, 175,000. Look at all these different interest rates. Look at all these different amounts that we owe. Okay. So who wants to spend the time, whether it's debt snowball, whether it's avalanche method, whether it's any other type of method that says, which one should we attack and what is going to be our benefit based on the amount of money that we have? Not come up with the amount of money on your own. This program only looks at what you have available and says, this is the best thing you can do with what you have available. All right. So if we take a look here and go back to the action plan. Okay. Go back to the action plan. The program will tell you what we're doing. So as you're talking to the program and telling it, you know what, I just received $15,000 in rents. We execute that, tell the program that we received our $15,000 in rent, and it disappears. We're starting in November. We pay the bills. We start paying the mortgages. And every time we pay a mortgage, we tell the program we did that. We just click on execute and tell the program we did that. Okay. So as we're paying the mortgages and we're only paying the minimum payments here. Okay. When we pay the bills, then the program is going to give us instruction on how much money we actually have. And based on that, how much money you can put into savings. $596.45 out of when you pay all the bills, put this amount of money in savings. All right. And then it goes down here. And then it says, get your rents here, put another $9,000 in savings and start paying off some debt. Okay. So we're going to pay off the Visa first, pay off the HELOC, and then choose mortgage number 9 out of all the mortgages. We got 10 mortgages. Then the program says, put money on mortgage number 9. $1,936.96 after you paid the minimum payment on the mortgage. You got to pay a minimum payment first. And then it tells you which mortgage to attack. Not only that, but it tells you what day to do it on. And the amount of money that you pay in any given month and the day you pay it on is likely to change all over the place. So there is no one day, there is no one amount. There is only the optimized day and the optimized amount, and it's a moving target. Okay, but in this case, we're going to follow the program and said we're going to put $1,936.96 on mortgage principal. On the same day, we're going to make the mortgage payment. All right. On the same day, we're going to make the mortgage payment. So if we do that, here's how much interest we save. I need to bring this up, make it bigger so you guys can see. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm glad you guys are asking these questions. All right. And let me see here. Let's make that a little bit bigger. On this particular mortgage, this is why the program chose this one. You make your decision based on interest cost and how much interest you can save by taking $1,936.96. Stop at the 96 cents. Don't even roll it up to the next dollar. Stop right there. This is the optimum amount of money you need to put on this loan to save $23,146 in interest. One payment, one extra payment of $1,936.96 saves you $23,146 in interest you never have to pay. All right. D. Dotson coming back with another question. All right, let's take a look at it. If someone has 10 properties, wouldn't their primary concern be cash flowing and not paying off the mortgage as oh yeah. Listen, if you have 10 properties, you definitely want to focus on cash flow. Oh yes. If you are in real estate, you definitely want to focus on cash flow. Because why wouldn't you? Okay. But when I'm looking at cash flow, and this is how the real estate investors talk to me, says, Don, Why would I focus on paying off the loan when I could make 10%, 15%, 20% cash on cash return? I can take that money and invest it in other properties instead of focusing on, I can take and make 10 between 10 and 30% cash on cash return. I'm making 30% of my money. Okay. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. And that's pretty good money. So I want to tell you right now, all right, that on our next we got two shows coming up on Friday and on Sunday. Friday's show is how to get mortgages at 2% or less, even today. Oh, you're going to love that one. Friday's show is how to get mortgages at 2% or less. Okay. And on next Sunday, guess what? I'm glad you asked that question, because next Sunday is real estate investors not making 30%. We're going to show you how to make 200% ROI, 200% return on your money. So let's take one of these mortgages. Okay. Let's take one of these mortgages and let's take a look at it. All right. And let me take this back, because let me show you what I'm talking about. Thank you very much for bringing that question to light, because there are other real estate investors in here that need to see this. And be back here next Sunday, because we're going to dig way deep into how, cash flow and return on your investment. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's go ahead and look at this mortgage number 9. Okay, mortgage number 9. We're going to take a look at it and bring it up, putting it on there. Okay, mortgage number 9. So our principal and interest payment is $28.5117. Our interest rate is 6.5%. Okay, so if my interest rate is, let me pull up a new a Brett Whistle here. Okay, we're going to pull this up, and I'm going to do it backwards. We can reverse engineer this thing. I'm going to put in the payment and the interest rate, and it's going to give me the original amount of the loan. Watch how I do this. All right, my principal and interest payment is this. Okay, copy, and my interest rate is 6.5. So interest rate is 6.5%. We're going to take out the principal amount, because we don't know that yet. It is 360 months, and we're going to put in our principal and interest payment. Principal and interest payment is $28.5117. And when we calculate that, it'll tell us how much our original loan was. Okay, 400, and let's get rid of this advertisement. $451,085.94. That's the original amount. Okay, so I've got 2815. Now, if this is a wise real estate investor, they're renting this out for more than 2851.17. That covers not only the payment, but the taxes and insurance. Let's assume that they are. Let's assume that they are, and they can cash flow somewhere between $200 and $500 a month or more. So they're cash flowing on this, which is very important. Okay. Now, every real estate investor that I know puts some money away, all right, and sitting in the bank for an eventuality, like, I don't know, maybe we need to do some repair and maintenance on the apartment or house. We need to, somebody moves out and we got to get it ready for the next renter. That costs money. We want to have some cash on the side. And they have that cash on the side sitting in the bank, making 0.1%. Let me show you something here, just with one little bit of money out of the reserve fund. And this is just one way to look at it. I've got my reserve fund over here. Let's say I have $10,000 in reserve to take care of my properties, $10,000 in reserve. And here's how much goes to principal. Here's how much going to interest. Now, remember, I'm okay with making anywhere from 10 to 30% cash on cash return just for investing. But what if I know that if I make my payment here in January on this mortgage, the $410 I would put on principal in February, all right? That's how much it would cost me to put that on in February. I have to pay the bank $2,441.17 in interest. Now, the reason why this is so important is because real estate investors are told the tenants are paying your mortgage, not you. That's not true. The tenants don't have a mortgage. That's why they're paying you. You have a mortgage. The tenants are giving you money. And out of the money that they give you, you're paying the mortgage. And we're going to get into that. Listen, come back next week and I'll tell you all about that part. Okay. But I want to show you this one thing because Mr. Dotson brought it up. And thank you, Mr. Dotson, for bringing it up. So we're going to, let's say we make our mortgage payment in January, that $410, we're not going to wait till February to give it to the bank. We're going to take it out of reserves. That's making 1/10% sitting in a savings account, maybe. And most of the time it's sitting in a checking account making nothing. Okay. $410. We're going to take that out of the bank and apply it to mortgage principal. And guess what would happen? I would save $2,441.17 in interest I don't have to pay. Let's take a look at our return on investment. And if you look up ROI, it's going to tell you what is your benefit for investing and how much did you invest. Take the benefit for investing and divide it by how much you invested, and then take that number and multiply it by 100. That will tell you what your ROI is. So I could take all my money invested and make somewhere between 10 and 30% cash on cash return investing. And here's what I'm telling you. Whatever you decide you want to invest, don't stop. Keep making your 10 to 30% cash on cash return. Please do. I'm not telling you not to do that. I will repeat, whatever percentage of your money you're currently investing, continue. Don't stop. That's what got you here in the first place. I totally agree with you on that. But take some of that money that you have on the sideline that's making either 0% interest or is making, very small amount of interest. In this case, $410. Prepay that. If you do, you're paid down to line 2 immediately, and your next mortgage payment is on line 3. So this $2,441.17 in interest you just saved. So that's your benefit. So we're going to take our calculator, take our benefit, $2,441.17, divided by what we had to pay to get the benefit, $410 early, divided by $410, and then multiply this number. I did it wrong. Sorry. $2,441.17 divided by $410. Divided by $410 equals $595 times 100. That's your return on investment. 595%. 595%. Okay. So Mr. Dotson is saying, I don't think you're reading the amortization schedule correctly, as each line is just dividing the monthly payment into the principal and interest. It would be better to utilize a prepayment calculator. Mr. Dotson, most people think that. Okay. So let me tell you something, and we'll do an example for you. Okay. Mr. Dotson, here's the thing. I just showed by prepaying this, you would save this interest. Okay. So if I know that if I add up all the interest payments, if I make every single payment on time, to move this loan from the beginning, 451,000, to pay down to here, it would cost me $29,000 in interest. Okay? Because I have to add up all the interest payments for a year just to make my payments on time. It would cost me $29,000 in interest to pay it down to here. Does anybody disagree with that? And if I add up all my principal payments for 1 year, I pay the loan down by $5,041.90. Does anybody disagree with that? I pay the loan down by this much. The bank wants $29,000 in interest to do that. So what if I did this? We're going to duplicate this tab. Okay. All right, I want to duplicate the tab here. There it is. All right, so now I'm going to take, if I prepay this, so here's what I'm saying. If I prepay the $5,041.90, I'm saying I would save $29,000 in interest. All right. Or let's do it this way. Let's take the $400,000. I know that if I pay my payment on time every month, okay? And let me bring my calculator up. Let's do the math. Remember, folks, when somebody tells you something, make them show you the math. Okay, make them show you the math. We start out with $451,085.94. After 1 year on this mortgage, we pay it down to $446,044.04. So that means all the principal payments added up come to $5,041.90. I could pay this over 12 months to get this result, or I can give the bank all of this in month 1 if I had it. I would have to subtract this all at once from what I owe. So let's subtract $5,041.90 equals 446,044.04. That's exactly what I have here. So if I prepay this, I'm paid down to right here because the bank has to subtract that from what I owe. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take this number, copy it, put it into a different amortization schedule. Okay. We have this one. Now we're going to put this, what I owe now, in a different amortization schedule. Here's what I owe now. Paste that in there. We have to take the comma out because the program doesn't like that comma. All right. Payment is still the same. The only thing that's different is we don't have the same number of payments. Payment is the same. Interest rate is the same. And we calculate. And now it tells us we have 348 payments. That means we have 12 payments less. Remember, we prepaid 12 months worth. Now we have 12 payments less. That's 348 payments. Let's take a look at how much interest the bank wants to charge us on this new loan here. Okay. $546,163.12. The original loan, the bank wanted to charge us $575,335.26. So now we have two different loans with two different total interest payments. So if we take our calculator, the original amount that the bank wanted was $575,335.26. We prepaid 1 year worth. We prepaid 5,000. We prepaid 1 year's worth of principal, which is $5,041.90. All right, we're paid down to here. And so now we owe, this is how much interest we're going to pay that the bank wants. So we bring our calculator back from 575, 335.26. Now we're going to subtract 546, 163.12. Subtract 546, 163.12 equals 29,172.14. That's the same amount that I have here, 29,172.14. Mr. Dotson, thank you for pointing it out, because every single real estate investor I've ever talked to says exactly what you're saying. This is how we're all taught, but we need to learn something different, because if I prepay this money, that means I do not have to pay the bank this $29,172.14. And I just proved it by putting it in two separate amortization schedules. I hope that answers your question. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being with us today. We're coming up on 2 hours, okay? And Mr. Dotson, please come back next week. We're going to dig down deeper into how, real estate investors, how they can make over 200% ROI. I just showed you how we can save a ton of money by investing in the mortgage, and the numbers don't lie. We have been lied to, but these numbers don't lie. We're going to learn how to do this thing correctly by learning how to read an amortization schedule, because I don't know of anyone who's ever been taught in school how to read an amortization schedule properly to learn how to defeat it, to learn what's really going on, because even real estate investors lose track of how much interest they're actually paying and how much interest they could actually save. We're going to talk about how to get 200% over 200% return on your money next Sunday. Don't miss it. Okay. All right. So to wrap things up, I need to go over three things. Well, actually four. And here's the first one. I need you to go to ice10k.com so that you can get a savings and earnings report. Don't forget that. I also, as you get your savings and earnings report for yourself, that's for your mortgage, your student loans, your credit cards, your car loans, all of that can be paid off in an average of 7 to 9 years once you understand what's really going on behind the scenes. Not only that, but I need your help. It says, but that did not answer it though. Okay, Mr. Dotson came right back. Thank you, Mr. Dotson. But that did not answer it though. You basically just did a manual prepayment calculator. Well, that's what the point is, Mr. Dotson, is that what I'm saying is that people need to know how much interest they're saving. Maybe I'm not understanding your original question. Okay. He says, I don't think you're reading the amortization schedule correctly, as each line is just dividing the monthly payment into principal and interest. It would be better to utilize a prepayment calculator. Well, yeah, you could use a prepayment calculator, but you want to know, Mr. Dotson, how much interest you're going to be saving with just one payment, and calculate that on your own. And then look at how you can optimize your interest savings per dollar. You see, this calculator is online. That's not my program. My program will tell you how much interest you're saving per dollar and optimize that. So we're going to get into that more next week, where you can actually know exactly how much to pay and when to pay to save the most interest per dollar. That's what's important. So let's get back to this. So I need your help, everybody. I need your help. If you believe what we're talking about is vital, is the information is something people need, I need your help in getting the information out. So please click on this button that says become an affiliate. As you become an affiliate, put in your full name, your phone number, and your email, and tell me how you want to get paid. Okay. An affiliate can make between $300 and $3,000 a month with no selling. All they do is direct people to the P.I.L.L. Method YouTube channel, if somebody is just so tired of dealing with their debt the old way, send them to the YouTube channel. Then call them a day or two later, no more than 48 hours. Call them a day or two later and see if they want to know more information. If they do want to know more information, go back to the ICE 10K link, scroll down underneath my picture. There's my picture right there. Scroll down underneath my picture and then hit refer a friend. Then refer that person to us, and we'll take it from there. All right. What you do is you put in their full name, phone number, email address, and zip code, and put in your name and phone number so that we can link this potential client to you. And when they'll become a client, we'll pay you. Give us a little bit of information about them as well. Okay. Best time to call, if their work, their work hours, whatever information you think we need to be able to contact them as soon as possible. All right. Put that in there. Then you click submit. Our team gets that. We call the people. They fill out a request to get a savings and earnings report, and it starts there. Okay. All right. So that's number one, get your savings and earnings report. Number two, become an affiliate and help us to get the information out. We need to get as many eyes as we possibly can on the YouTube channel. And if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, please click subscribe, like the videos, and comment like some of these people here, like Mr. Dotson did. Let's see. And Erie also asked, I am a vet. Should I use my VA? You better use your VA certificate. That is the best loan out there that I know of. You better use that VA certificate. All right. So now let's go back. And I mentioned earlier to get my book. Okay. Click the link and get the book. All right. Get that book. 2 of you are going to receive my book for free because you came to the stage and asked questions. I appreciate that. Okay. And next week, we may decide to do that again. All right. Give away some free books just for people coming up to ask their question. All right. So get that. Get your savings and earnings report, become an affiliate, and get the book. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Don't miss out on next week. Next Friday, this coming Friday, how to get mortgages at 2% or less. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not by buying down the rate. You don't have to buy down the rate. I'm gonna show you how to do it, okay? Because we got clients doing it all over the place. How to get your interest down to 2% or less. And next Sunday, if you're a real estate investor, come back in and let's talk about how to get over 200% ROI on your investments. And Mr. Dotson, listen, please come back and join the conversation. We would love to have you come in and join the conversation because your questions help more people learn the P.I.L.L method so that they can so that real estate investors can increase profitability while they're still cash flowing well on the properties they have. What we're going to show you is how to increase profits by decreasing the amount of interest that you're paying by 75%. Oh my gosh. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're all out of time. I need you to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, and we'll see ya on Friday.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.